And they all looked at me and said, slow down. So I'm gonna give y'all a job. If I start going way too fast, which apparently happens a lot, instead of going, excuse me, could you repeat that? Because I'm not gonna hear it, because I'm in my own world up here, y'all know.
Slow down.
There, or just give me a whoa Nelly. Okay, that's all I need. Just give me a whoa Nelly, and I will slow down and repeat myself. Excuse me. I get the radio voice going, and then it's just, and I'm a lawyer too, so like delivering boilerplate, like, Terms and conditions to apply, right? Sorry, I promise you I'm not reading side effects of being here, so. So please, if I need to slow down, give me a Wonelli, and I will do that. And thank you for your patience with me talking way too fast and way too loud. Sorry, Margie posted something about needing our quiet gifts, and I was like, how about really, really loud gifts? Because I'll give you those. Okay, so announcements. Today's special music is by the amazing Carol Grace Anderson. Very exciting. And now we still have a wish list, the Unity of Music City wish list. We did the toilet paper thing. We're good on the toilet paper. But what we need now is paper towels, please. And apparently the box was empty.
No, it's not now.
It's not now.
People stepped up.
Go y'all! Well, thank you.
Keep it coming.
We still need more because there are hot messes like me here. Okay, so next Sunday is the gift of change. So if you got a bunch rolling around or if your jackets are getting heavy, bring it on in. We got gift of change next week. Denise, would you like to speak about your leadership retreat?
Yes. This is actually a workshop next Saturday, and I know some of you are like, I'm not a leader, I'm not coming. That's why you should come. That's what I heard. How many of you believe that we need leaders out there that really get it right now? Well, that's what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about 4 different styles of leaders. And what I'm going to help people do during Saturday is incorporate all 4 of those styles within them. Because I've heard for years, well, this is just me, and this is the way I am, and if you don't like it, well, how many of you realize that sometimes the way you are does not work with some other people? And so if you're going to lead groups of people, you have to be able to meet them where they are and drag them somewhere. So you're going to have to learn how to shift your energy occasionally in certain situations. So, that's really all I'm going to say. If you are coming on Saturday, and I hope most of you will, bring something to share, because when we eat lunch, there's going to be an activity for lunch while you're eating, but we hope that there's food here to eat, so that would be a good thing. Okay?
Thank you, Reverend.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. Really looking forward to that. Be aware that there is a membership renewal email that's going to be going out next week. Please take the time to fill out, it's an autofill form, so it'll be attached to the email and it's pertinent to keeping your correct and current administrative records. There are some hard copies on the membership table for those who would prefer that, which is right under the giant sign that says new member information. If you would like to do it pen and paper style, go ahead and grab one, please. There will be a new membership orientation after the service on Sunday, February 23rd. Anybody who wants to be a new member, yay! Anybody who wants to become a new member has to come to orientation, please. And I promise it's painless. It's wonderful. I love it. I learned a lot. So come and see Russ or Margie, or speak with anyone from membership. Okay, today is the Healing Earth Ministry, which is formerly known as Outdoor Adventure. Terms and conditions may apply. They will meet from 1 to 2 at Shoots Branch Recreational Area. And you can go see Ann Coverdell for more information. Becky?
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Yeah.
If you would repeat this with me, this is our mission and our vision statement. To remember the universal presence alive in each of us. And then our mission.
We create experiences for expanding consciousness and awakening infinite possibilities.
Isn't that far
Yeah, it's
away?
lit. It's lit.
It takes it a few minutes to blaze up.
Okay, so it doesn't take rocket science to see that the lights are out. This is what happens when we don't pay our NES bill. And I just happen to be your board president. I am not the type who likes to be up here with a microphone. This is part of what Denise is talking about when we get out of our own comfort zones. So this is me out of my comfort zone. Having to tell you about money, numbers, which again is not my greatest attribute. However, we're down about $26,000, and what we've realized is that when we give you something to put your money towards, you guys, you do it, it's amazing. And so we want to be more transparent in telling you that we've got NES bill, we've got gas bill, we've got insurance bills, we've got all this stuff that we need to get paid. And we need your help doing that. And we're moving from a tithing to a cooperative giving. And I know that's a big stretch for a lot of people, because tithing has been the way it's been since how long?
Before Jesus.
Render unto Caesar that which is Caesar.
That's a really long time. And so I've got a lot to say, and I don't have that much time to say it. So know that there's a letter coming from me and the rest of the executive council this week that will speak more to that. But if you could just go ahead and close your eyes for me and really delve down deep into what are you connected to? Because obviously we're connected to NES, right? And we get our electricity from them. But what is it that you are connected to? And give to that. You don't have to give to Unity of Music City. You give to God and give to Spirit. So with that sobering thought, and because we're in the dark, I'm going to read this that I found on Facebook of all things. It's from the Galactic Representatives. Can we please stop associating darkness with evil? Close your eyes, dream state, meditation, all equals darkness. Night sky, the universe at all times, it's darkness. Plant a seed in the ground to sprout, it's planted in darkness. The new life that a mother carries, the child is formed in the darkness. Darkness is the breeding ground for creation. What are you afraid of, and who taught you to fear it?
Thank you so much, Becky. You can turn the lights back on. You know, just piggybacking on that thought, when I moved here, we moved for my husband's job. And I had a professorship in Atlanta, I had friends in Atlanta, I had a whole life there. But we took a leap of faith, came here for my husband's job. I had no one when I got here. I didn't know a soul in Nashville. And so for a while, my extroverted self was afloat. But then I came here. And y'all became my family. This church became my home. So it means a lot to me to keep things going here and to be prosperous. And I have a rich, beautiful, abundant life. But my abundance is not always money. It's other things. Thank you. And one of my many, many areas of abundance is being able to come here and be with you and sing for you and work with Dr. Judy and be in the choir. And so while it was not always possible for me to share abundance of money with this community, I can give my time. And that's energy just as important as money. So if you are kind of squirreling in your seat a little bit going, I can't get out the checkbook this week, I just can't. Give your time. Help out here, because we need you. You're a huge part of this community. And if I could write a giant fat check every week, I absolutely would. But instead of that, I'm here donating my time, because this is our home. And I know this is home for all of you too.
And
Yes.
how much is your time worth? You said yourself, what is it, $500?
Yeah, it's what I was getting. Well, for my legal services, it's upwards of $100. For my coaching services, it's about $40 per hour. And then I was the staff singer at another Unity church in Atlanta, and I was getting $250 a week to do this. So I'm here giving that, and that's worth money. They don't have to pay somebody to do what I'm doing because I'm doing it. So that's a lot. So please come in. Your time is valuable. It is so valuable, and don't undersell yourself because you have talents and you have heart to give to the community. So I hope you do. Thank y'all so much. All right, I'm ready to sing after all that heaviness. Y'all want to sing? Come on. Let's shake it off. Imagine that love is all around. See it, feel it, be love. Imagine that love is all that is found. See it, feel it, be love. Then we become what we're longing for. We are knocking on heaven's door. Imagine that love is all around. See it, feel it, be love. Imagine that joy is all around. See it, feel it, be joy. Imagine that joy is all that is found. See it, feel it, be joy. When we become what we're longing for, we are knocking on heaven's door. Imagine that joy is all around. See it, feel it, be joy. Imagine that peace is all around. See it, feel it, be peace. Imagine that peace is all that is found. See it, feel it, be peace. When we become what we're longing for, we are knocking on heaven's door. Imagine that peace is all around. See it, feel it, be peace. See it, feel it, be joy. See it, feel it, be love. Y'all, please remember that the Wednesday evening meditations will be starting up on February 19th. That's from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. The Healing Arts Ministry is going to offer 9 weeks of collaborative prayer and meditation based on the guiding principles of Myrtle Fillmore's affirmative meditations. Please bring a love donation of $10, and doors open at 6:45 and close at 7:10. Lunch Bunch is meeting at midday on Wednesdays. They meet at 11:30 for a book discussion and a BYO lunch. The book is The Art of Abundance, 10 Rules for a Prosperous Life by Dennis Merritt Jones. And the writers group meets in the Namaste Cafe the 4th Sunday of the month at 12:30. Pete?
Thank you. Imagine. The great oak starts as an acorn, a small seed that we'd never expect to be able to bring forth such a mighty expression, capable of living for generations and providing food, shade, shelter, and much more to hundreds of creatures. Packed inside that seed is the invisible pattern, perfectly designed to become the oak. Inside that almost minuscule piece of carbon material is infinite, eternal potential. The same is true for you and me. The affirmation: Within me is the potential for greatness. Together. Within me is the potential for greatness. Just as the acorn doesn't come from an empty shell and then sit about making something of itself, neither were you nor I designed for such a thing. The sperm and egg that began each of us contained the material and the mechanics of its fulfillment as a part of the expanding universe we were born into. Can we begin to take in the implications of that statement? Just as a single acorn contains tall, strong trees and endless forests, the seeds of our beings contains all the ideas, contributions, and impact your life, when lived to the fullest, will make. That is the legacy you will leave behind. All it takes is the right conditions for its emergence. Just as the acorn is planted in rich soil that is ready for growth and expansion, the seed that becomes you must be planted in the fertile belief system of divine oneness. The biggest difference between us and the acorn as we grow and mature, it is up to us to be responsible for the fertile soil in which we grow and expand. So, how do I get to know this divine oneness? Be still and know.
And so I ask that you settle into your seats and begin with a reset breath, so exhale first. And just let out anything that you might have brought in here with you. And then as you allow the breath to come in, just allow it to come in easily and effortlessly. Your breath, the very breath of God, knows exactly how to flow in and through your body. Within me is the potential for greatness. Just allow those words to flow through you as your breath does. Within me is the potential for greatness. Within the beating of my heart is the potential for greatness. And so if you haven't already, drop those 18 inches to your heart space. Just begin to focus on that area. And as you breathe, just feel your breath flowing through your heart center. Within my heart is the alignment with the universe. The plan for me. My signature heartbeat and vibration. And so as we rest in the silence, remembering that the universe knows me by my signature heartbeat, my signature vibration, my expression of divine love. In the silence, in the silence. universe recognizes and knows the vibration of my heart. The universe recognizes me and my expression of my own divinity. And all I have to do is be still and know that I am love.
Be still and know that I am love. Be still and know that I am love. Be still and know that I am love. Always there for you. Be still and know that I am love. Be still and know that I am love. Be still and know that I am love. Love, I leave with you. Be still and know that I am love. Be still and know that I am love. Be still and know that I am love. Always there for you. Be still and know that I am love. Be still and know that I am love. Be still and know that I am love. Love, I leave with you.
Please welcome Carol Grace Anderson.
Great to be here. Good morning. Good morning. Here's a good message for us all. Pick it up a little. It's I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and for you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds of white, bright blessed day and dark sacred night. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies cry, and I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than we will ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Ooh, yeah. Then I think to myself, what a wonderful, wonderful, beautiful world.
So, being an energy-sensitive person, when Becky was up here talking, I felt all of you speed her up. Every one of you. Pull back, like, "Brrr." So we're going to do a little exercise here. Everybody's going to get up off your behind. Everybody. If you can. Dr. Hugh, you have an excuse that you don't have to. Somebody will have to come to you. But I want you to tell 3 people something wonderful about the world that we live in right now. You can't talk about politics. You can't talk about the stuff that you don't think is wonderful. 3 wonderful things, and you got to have 3 different people, which means you're going to have to get up and wander around. Go.
You're here today, and that's wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Okay. You keep stuff. I will. All positive.
So you have about a minute to finish, wherever you are in this room. So the reason that felt better is because of this. So say that with me. I am aligned with the vibrational frequency of abundance. The only issue with that is sometimes we think there is an abundance of lack. We think that. Now I'm going to get weird with you with words. Because I've heard several words up on the stage this morning that you don't need to say anymore. You never need to say the word need ever again. Do you know what happens when you say I need? The universe goes, okay, you're going to get to need that forever. You want to need that? Go on and need it. You just keep needing it. You know what happens when you keep needing something? It's lack. So it's lack consciousness. You know, I've been studying this stuff for about 37 or 38 years, and I'm still learning. I called one of our leaders this morning on the word need before the service. And then I just said, you know, we've been learning this for over 20 years, and we still forget that our words create experiences. You are vibrationally in alignment with abundance, but it depends on what you see as abundant in your world. If you see lack and limitation, guess what you're going to be aligned with? Abundance of that. If you see a whole lot of need, you're going to be aligned with an abundance of that. You don't have to work at your high vibration. Your higher, purer vibration is natural to you, but you do have to let go of the thought that is holding your vibration down. Dan, can you stand up and say that out loud again so people can hear it from a different voice?
You don't have to work at your high vibration. Your higher vibration, pure vibration, is natural to you. But you do have to let go of the thought that is holding your vibration down.
B. Liff, would you stand up and do the same thing? Here's another voice saying the same thing.
You don't have to work at your high vibration. Your higher, purer vibration is natural to you, but you do have to let go of the thought that is holding your vibration down.
One more. John Martins, you're in the back. Can you stand up and say it from back there, or even say it from sitting down?
Sure. You don't have to work hard, you don't have to work at your higher vibration. Your higher vibration, pure vibration, is natural to you, but you do have to let go of the thought that you're holding your vibration down.
So I asked you to talk for just about 30 seconds to the person beside you about what you just heard in that from several different people. Go. The same energy that created everything we see created us too. And there is an abundance of it. Everywhere. All the time. And it's flowing in and through your body, unless you block it somewhere. over the last week and a half, Judy and I have both had this pain in exactly the same place in our backs. Isn't that interesting? Of course, we can say, okay, maybe it has to do with that I'm moving a lot of stuff to the river and that I painted a room last week and blah, 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 but it's not. Everything that's going on in your body is working out some sort of a thought that you've held that is causing pain in your body. Now, some of you may have never heard that before, and you're going, what in the world is this woman talking about? But that's what it is. Because our bodies hold thoughts and belief systems and emotions and stuff, and when we have pain or disease in our body, it's because we've held it. So in this now moment, what is it that we need to let go of to have an abundance and to know that we have an abundance already right there for us when we go, okay, what thoughts do we need to let go of? I can't speak for you. But if you don't have a life 100% exactly like you want it, then you're holding the consciousness of something less than that right now. That's all I can share with you. That's the universal truth. Somebody's sphinctering up so badly that you're pulling the cushion up out of your chair. It's okay. We all have to learn this at some point in time, and it doesn't feel comfortable. You know what today's lesson is about? I am responsible for my own consciousness. Woo! Not anybody else. I can't blame my mama or my daddy or Donald Trump or Nancy Pelosi or anybody else. It is me. So if that's true, then it's hard enough for me to deal with just me. But then when I put myself with somebody else or with a whole spiritual community, guess what? You all believe all different kinds of things. So attempting to create together becomes a bigger issue. When we started this year, we started with that universal principle. I am one with life. That comes straight from this book, The Art of Abundance. But it kind of goes with the unity principle that says, somebody read that out loud. There's one.
There is one presence and one power in my life and in all the universe, God the good. Amen.
And you know, for the almost 30 years that I've been in leadership in Unity churches, I've known lots of people who could spout that off. But they have no idea how to live it. I'm going to say that again, because when things go awry, they forget that there is one, and it's not lack. It's abundance. Does that make sense? It doesn't say there are many, many powers and presences in my life. It says there's one. And when I line up with that presence and that power, I have true abundance all the time. It can't fail. And so when I'm not experiencing that, I'm not lined up. I'm wonky. Ever been wonky? I have. And then what? Oh, I forgot. I forgot to be one with life and be one with the presence and the power that is true love and true abundance and divinity. It's always there. The second thing that we worked on this month a lot is I live in a what? Now remember the first experiment we did in here, we expanded by doing something similar to what we did at the beginning of this service. We talked about things we loved. And then we pushed the reset button and we expanded a whole different way. We talked about things we did not like. And then I had people go, oh, I wish you hadn't done that. And I said, you know, you do that every day, all day long. We all do. We call our friends and tell them all the things we don't like. We get out on Facebook and post everything we don't like. about that. So, in unity, we believe that we are an expression of the divine. Therefore, I am what? When are you not being loved? When are you not being loved? The only time you're not being the full alignment vibration of love is when you believe in lack and limitation. On any level. On any level. Could be health, could be finances, could be loving relationships. It could be lots of things. And then you know what generally happens in our physical world with these physical bodies is our bodies rear up and show us. Every time you've got an issue, a physical issue, it's because your body is trying to show you where you're not being loving. And the first thing you do is send love to that. Oh, Lord. I've told many people in the hospital, you've got to love that cancer. They're like, I can't do that. I said, well, it's not going to heal till you do. Because it's showing you something about yourself. Everybody breathe. Some of you are looking at me really hard, like, if you look at me hard enough, you're going to get this. Remember, I've been doing this for 37 or 38 years. Some of you are just now jumping into this and going, ooh, I'm not sure I like what I jumped in the middle of. Jill, say that out loud.
I am responsible for my consciousness.
How does that feel? It feels wonderful until it does not. Until you want to say that somebody else is responsible for your consciousness. Yes. Somebody else's fault. That's what unity says. Becky, read that out loud.
Thoughts and mind reproduce after their kind.
That's what we say in unity. Thoughts in mind reproduce after their kind. Isn't that sweet? All that means is that you're responsible for your own consciousness. And if there is something awry in your world, you need to align your thoughts with the divine. Period. So, conversation again with the person beside you about being one with life, about living in an expanded universe, about being responsible for your own consciousness. What's coming up now, right now for you? Go. Now, for fear that some of you will leave feeling worse about yourselves than when you came in. Hear me, we're all human. We chose to be human this time around. You are divine in a human body. And in this human body, we forget. We forget that we're divine. But your body and your emotions and your thoughts are supposed to help you remember. And when you forget, you're supposed to be around people who go, Denise, your slip is showing, honey. Does that make sense? Because if we're not, we can find big vats of people that believe differently. And we can just fall down in that and waller around and be with those people. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with those people. I'm just saying I don't vibrate with that. I can't anymore. If I'm in a group of people that are very negative and all negative about everything and about lack and limitation, I can't be there much longer because it hurts my skin. It hurts my body because it's not what I believe. It's not what I manifest in my own world. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Now everybody breathe. One of your homework assignments is to pay attention to the people you're around. That doesn't feel good. It's like, am I around people who support me in believing in the abundance of the universe, or am I around people who support me in believing in lack and limitation? And which would I choose? Everybody breathe. If you want to, I know some of you are going, and I have some friends, and I don't want to release them, then you need to be a leader to them. And one of the ways you can lead them is teach them differently. They won't change today, or even tomorrow. But they will eventually. But you have to remember your role. Don't let them pull you down. Does that make sense? What is that? Be read about that. Within that acorn is the potential for greatness to become that. Do you think that acorn knew that? Probably not. I'm just an acorn. But how many times do we say, I'm just a person? I'm just a person. I can't do no more than this. Do we recognize our own potential for greatness? That's my son on the left. And that's my son on the right with his own daughter. Do you think when he was 2.5 years old, he realized one day his potential for greatness and that he was going to have this beautiful daughter that he was going to put sunglasses on and get a picture made with? No! But he was taught in unity. Some of you have heard this story. Austin he always pushed the envelope. Always. Always, in all ways. Generally, the way I dealt with him would say, honey, you need to go to your room for a little while until you settle down. And when he would go to his room, he would beat and bang on the door, he would kick, he would scream, he would do all kinds of various and sundry things. One day, we were standing in the hallway, he was throwing a fit. I said, you need to go to your room. And he hollered, you can't send God to his room. What do you say to that, John Martins?
You're right.
I haven't taught Anna Kate that yet, John.
I'm saying you're right.
He gets it. He got it. He got it when he was 2.5 and 3 years old. Because he learned this stuff when he was a baby. Some of us are learning it as we get older, and it's taking us a while to understand that there is potential for greatness in us, and we are the very expression of God. So I want you to look at the person sitting beside you and say, you are the very expression of God. Go. You are the very expression of God. is it that a 2.5 to 3-year-old can get this, and we don't necessarily always get it? And what does all of that have to do with abundance? When I have awareness of who I really am, I have more choices. Can you see that? Because when I am aware of that I am divine, and I'm an expression of the divine, and I am pure love, and I am aligned with abundance, I have all kinds of choices that I don't think are available when I think, oh, this is just a person. Because I hear people say that, well, I can't do anything better than this, because, this is just the lot life gave me. Wow. That means that there's a big God out there that's distributing a deck of cards to all of us, and you just get what you get. So what do you believe? What do you believe? Because it gets down to that. If you're responsible for your own consciousness, consciousness is about what you believe. Consciousness is one of those words that's thrown around a lot. Now, when I worked out in the secular world, I realized they have no idea what you're talking about when you say that word a lot of times. They're like, what are you talking about? I had people in metro schools that would come in my office and close the door and go, you throw this word around a lot, consciousness. What do you really mean? I'm like, it's what you believe, what you think about all the time. And if you believe that kids are bad, guess what? You're going to have a full classroom of bad kids. You understand that? If I believe people are mean, guess what I'm going to find out there? Mean people. It's your consciousness. Never underestimate the power of dreams and the influence of the human spirit. The potential for greatness lives within each of us. She was told she was never going to walk, much less run. Wow. That's what she was told. What would have happened if she believed what she was told? Yeah. What are the things that you've been told that you're questioning now? Everybody breathe. Somebody just sucked all the air out of the room. This could be medical doctors have told you. This could be a therapist has told you, a teacher has told you, a minister has told you, somebody told you, and you went, oh, okay, I'll believe that. What do you do with information that comes to you? I tell people, marinate on it. Marinate on it for a week or more, and then we'll talk. Because it's got to get in your DNA and see if it works. All of it. So the premise that we're dealing with here in this art of abundance is my consciousness determines how I shape my life. That's said a little bit differently than I'm responsible, but what it's saying is whatever I believe and what I think about the most is going to shape my life out here. And if so I don't like what's out here, guess what I have to change? Trying to change this out here is like rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic. It really doesn't matter. You can rearrange this all day. But until you rearrange this, this doesn't matter. Now tell somebody what you just heard.
church, you know, and you are exactly what the way you are.
So if you look at the screen, the reason we struggle some with this concept is because there are still times I believe in what? And I have people that go, but I see it. So why do you think you see it? And so I'm going to get a little woo-woo with you for a minute. You'll survive. She's survived it for a long time. Pushed back a lot, but survived. How do we solve the poverty issue in our world? We see it differently. That doesn't mean that there might not be things that you could offer, but we see it differently. As long as I see it as bless their hearts. Oh. Guess what kind of energy you're sending to those people? Bless your heart. They don't need any more of that. They've already got that on the inside of them, or they wouldn't be living the way they're living. Now, some of you in Unity that are good Unity students are aware of Eric Butterworth, and you're thrilled with him. You may not be as thrilled with what I'm getting ready to read you. Poverty is consciousness. Prosperity is consciousness. Prosperity is a way of living and thinking and not just having money or things. Poverty is a way of living and thinking and not just a lack of money and things. Talk to somebody beside you about what you just heard. This is one of my favorite quotes from ministerial school, which they schooled out on us quite frequently. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will control your life and you will call it fate. I don't know what you hear in that, but it's what's below the surface that is creating the stage that's out here in your world. And until you pull that up and begin to understand what belief systems you're holding to create the life that you have, you will keep creating the life that you have. You have to make it conscious. You have to know what it is. There's another person that I love this quote that says it in a little bit different way. One of the reasons it has seemed so difficult for a person to change his habits, his personality, or his way of life has been that heretofore, you can tell he was old. Nearly all efforts at change have been directed to the circumference of the self, so to speak, rather than to the center. Now what he's talking about is, I'm trying to rearrange the deck chairs on the Titanic, but I really have to change me. And if my life is not showing up the way I want it to, if this congregation is not showing up the way I want it to, it's not about me moving people around in chairs or doing, it's me changing me. When I change me, everything else changes. I'm going to say that again. I want you to hear that because some of you do not believe it, I can promise you. When I change me, everything else changes. Talk to the person beside you now.
Yes, that is true.
I know that there are many of you out there that have pushed the envelope and created amazing things in your world. I want you to know probably why Judy and I are up here and have been up here for years and years. Do you know that at MTSU, when she enrolled, they told her she couldn't play the piano? They wouldn't even let her major in it. Because at the time when we went to college, because I have a degree in piano performance, most of you probably do not know that, because I studied classical piano music from age 3 all the way through college. She did not. She played boogie woogie, whatever she played. And I've said to her, there's much more of a call for that than there is for a classical pianist or an opera-trained singer. That's not necessarily what people are looking for in Nashville. But think about telling her, I'm sorry you can't play the piano. Do you think she listened?
Clearly not.
No. When Patricia Ryder left this church, I was told by people, you cannot be a unity minister. Not at that church. They'll never let you do it. I was like, okay, whatever. And I just kept holding firm that I was a unity minister. That was just what I affirmed every day. And anytime somebody would say, you cannot do this and they will not let you do it, I'm like, okay. Kept going and taking my classes, kept walking through the process. Okay, whatever. Until the day that they came across the loudspeaker and said, Denise Jurgen, you're wanted in the administrative office.
Uh-oh.
I said, oh dear God. And I walked in and they said, guess what? You're going to be a unity minister. It's like, I know. I know. That's how this stuff works. You have to hold it in consciousness until you can break through. It's not necessarily always your own lack and limitation, it's other people's. You get it? Somebody runs up to you and says, oh, you can't do that, honey. Just sit down and hush. So, I want you to affirm this with me. This is for all of us today. I am remembering who I am. I am an expression of divine love. I am aligned with the vibrational frequency of abundance. One more time and really take this in. I am remembering who I am. I am an expression of divine love. I am aligned with the vibrational frequency of abundance. Namaste.
Just a minute, Dave. 25 years ago, my younger sister, Mary Beth, was fading away from this earth from cancer. And I thought, what can I do with this sadness and this emptiness and this fear? And so I decided I'd write this song.
Hit it.
Life is a journey with so many turns, so many lessons, not easy to learn. When I look into others' eyes, I see the secret that helps us get by. Whoa, love matters most. We can keep looking, but nothing comes close. When we get to the end of the line, we'll find love matters most. Sometimes we're together, sometimes we're alone, right away or right at home. Sometimes we try and sometimes we win, but we'll be reminded again and again. Oh, love matters most. We can keep looking, nothing comes close. When we get to the end of the line, we'll find love matters most. In the dark of night, it feels like nobody's home, but the love is in your heart. You're never alone. Oh, love matters most. We can keep looking, but nothing comes close. When we get to the end of the line, we'll find love matters most.
hold your tithes and offerings and cooperative givings to your hearts and join me in the prayer of abundance. I live in the midst of infinite abundance. I give freely and fearlessly to life, and life gives back to me. Now, if you wouldn't mind coming up this way, dropping off your offerings, grab an affirmation. Go back that way.
You're always spot on.
Very easy to work with.
So we open our hands and our hearts and our minds, and we bless these tithes and offerings, knowing that they have been given from that space of love and that place of alignment with abundance. And we also remind ourselves of who we really are. We are an expression of the divine creator, an expression of love here on this planet. And so how am I going to express love today? And so it is. Amen.
I hope everybody will consider what Becky was speaking about earlier today. We have an abundance of talent and an abundance of love, and I hope you will all consider sharing that abundance with us. Please join me in the prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over